You think you know what it's like to wear the badge, but behind the uniform are 20 brutal realities every cop faces, and most civilians would pay to avoid. My name is David Zinni. I spent a long time behind that badge, and I've seen things that change you. It's not about the car chases you see on TV or the heroic standoffs in the movies. It's about the quiet moments that eat at your soul, the decisions that keep you up at night, and the constant grinding pressure that most people will never understand. This isn't a complaint, it's a matter of pulling back the curtain. It's the truth of the job laid bare. I'm here to talk about the things that happen after the sirens fade. The parts of the job that don't make the evening news but define the life of every officer who puts on that uniform. We're going to pull back the curtain on the daily battles fought not just on the street but inside your own head. From the revolving door of the justice system to the personal sacrifices that leave scars no one can see, these are the truths that forge an officer. It's a weight that you carry long after you've clocked out, a burden that can either break you or make you stronger. This is for the officer who feels like they're shouting into the void, and for the civilian who wants to understand what it truly means to serve and protect. We're going to walk through 20 realities that are the bedrock of this profession. These aren't just hypotheticals, they're the daily grind, the lived experience of men and women who stand on that thin blue line. We'll talk about how to face them, how to manage them, and how to survive them. Because survival in this line of work is the name of the game. My. Let's get to it. You get the call, same address, same name, same problem as last Tuesday. You know the guy. You know his whole life story, told to you in the back of your patrol car more times than you can count. You put the cuffs on him, a routine so practiced it feels like a dance. You take him downtown, write the report, and book him into jail. You do your job, follow the procedure, and you do it right. You feel that small flicker of satisfaction, thinking, maybe, just maybe, this time it'll stick. Maybe this time he'll get the help he needs. But then, before the ink on your report is even dry, you get another call. You're heading to a different scene, a different problem, but you see him. There he is, walking down the same street, free as a bird. The system spit him back out faster than you could file the paperwork. That flicker of satisfaction you felt, it dies. It's replaced by a cold, hard knot in your stomach. It feels like you're running in place, like you're a janitor cleaning up a mess that never, ever goes away. It's a revolving door, and you're the one stuck holding it open. This is the reality of the frequent flyer. It's a special kind of frustration that chips away at your morale piece by piece. You start to wonder, what's the point? It's easy to get cynical, to let that feeling fester, but you can't. Your job isn't to fix the entire system. Your job is to handle what's in front of you. You have to focus on the act, not the outcome. You made the arrest, you did your part. That's a win. You're planting seeds even if you never see them grow. You have to believe that, or this part of the job will eat you alive. Every cop dreams of being on the street, of making a difference, of being where the action is. But the reality? You spend a shocking amount of your time chained to a desk, staring at a computer screen, buried under a mountain of reports. For every minute of excitement, there are hours of documentation. Use of force report, incident report, supplemental report, property voucher. Every single action, every observation, every conversation has to be recorded in painstaking detail. It's the lifeblood of the legal system, they tell you. But some days, it feels like it's draining the life out of you. The stack never seems to get smaller. You clear one report, and 3 more take its place. It's a battle of attrition against a sea of forms and text boxes. You're a police officer, but you feel more like a data entry clerk. This is the unseen part of the job, the monotonous grind that happens long after the adrenaline has faded. While the city sleeps, you're under the fluorescent lights of the precinct, fueled by stale coffee, trying to recall the exact sequence of events from a call that happened 8 hours ago. Your memory has to be perfect, your wording has to be precise. It's a necessary evil, there's no doubt about it. That paperwork is what makes a case stick. It's what protects you, your department, and the public, but it's also a trap. It can make you feel disconnected from the real reason you signed up. The solution isn't to wish it away, it's to master it. Create a system. Use templates. Dictate your notes right after a call while they're fresh. Don't let the pile dictate your day. You control the paperwork. It doesn't control you. Get it done, get it right, and get back to the street where you belong. There's no call that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up quite like a domestic. You can roll up to a bank robbery with more certainty than you have walking up to a front door where a husband and wife are screaming at each other. It's a powder keg, and you're the one tasked with walking in and trying to defuse it. The dispatcher's voice gives you the bare bones, but it never tells the whole story. Are there weapons? Are there kids in the house? Is this a shouting match? Or is it about to become a homicide? You don't know. And that not knowing is what makes it so dangerous. You step across that threshold and you enter a world of pure, raw emotion. It's not a crime scene, not yet. It's a battlefield of anger, fear, and betrayal. The people involved aren't thinking rationally. They're running on pure adrenaline and instinct, and their behavior is completely unpredictable. The person who called you for help can turn on you in a split second. The victim you're trying to protect might suddenly decide to protect their abuser from you. You're an outsider in their private war, and that makes you a target for everyone. Every domestic call is a tightrope walk. You have to be a counselor, a mediator, a law enforcer, and a tactician, all at the same time. Your training is what keeps you grounded. You learn to read the room, to watch hands, to separate the parties, to control the space. You stay hyper alert because complacency on a domestic call can get you killed. And after it's over, whether it ends in an arrest or a temporary peace, you have to talk about it. Debrief with your partner, unpack that tension. You can't just carry it to the next call. These calls are emotional landmines, and you have to be careful they don't go off inside your own head. Your body was designed to sleep when it's dark and be awake when it's light. It's a simple biological fact. Now just throw that fact out the window. Welcome to the world of shift work. 1 week you're on days, the next you're on swings, and then you're pulling the graveyard shift. Your internal clock doesn't just get confused, it gets shattered into a million pieces. You're in a perpetual state of jet lag, but you never get to enjoy the vacation. You're drinking coffee when your family is eating dinner, and you're trying to sleep while the rest of the world is mowing their lawns and living their lives. This isn't just about being tired. This is a deep, bone-weary fatigue that seeps into every corner of your life. It affects your mood, your judgment, your reaction time. On the street, a split-second delay in your thinking can have catastrophic consequences. At home, it creates a different kind of danger. You're a ghost in your own house. You miss school plays, family dinners, and bedtime stories. You're there physically, but your mind is foggy and your temper is short. You're trying to connect with the people you love most, but there's a wall of exhaustion between you. You can't change the schedule, but you have to manage the fatigue. It's really a matter of survival for your career and your family. Sleep has to become your religion. Blackout curtains, white noise machines, turning off your phone. These aren't luxuries, they're essential tools. You have to set boundaries. When it's your time to rest, you have to be selfish about it. And you have to talk to your family. Explain to them why you're tired, why you're quiet, let them in. Because if you don't fight this fatigue with a plan, it will win. And the cost of that is far too high. In this line of work, you live in a fishbowl. From the moment you put on the uniform until the moment you take it off, you are on display. And in today's world, everyone has a camera in their pocket. Every traffic stop, every conversation, every move you make can be recorded, uploaded, and dissected by millions of people who weren't there, who don't have your training, and who don't have to make the life or death decisions you do. The court of public opinion convenes instantly, and it doesn't wait for facts. It runs on emotion, on outrage, and on 10-second clips taken out of context. This constant scrutiny creates a pressure that is hard to describe. It's a weight on your shoulders that never goes away. You find yourself second-guessing your instincts, hesitating for a fraction of a second because you're thinking about how it will look on camera. That hesitation can be fatal. You're expected to be a perfect guardian, a flawless enforcer of the law, but you're also human. You make mistakes. But in your job, a mistake isn't just a learning experience. It's a potential career ender, a lawsuit, a viral video that will follow you for the rest of your life. So how do you operate under that kind of pressure? You fall back on your training and your professionalism. You treat every single person with respect, even when they're not giving you any. You articulate your actions. You document everything, not just on paper, but with your body camera. That camera is not your enemy, it's your witness. It records the whole truth, not just the convenient snippet. And you lean on your brothers and sisters in blue. They're in the same fishbowl with you. They understand the pressure. You have to trust your team and have each other's backs, because out there, it can feel like you're all alone. You see humanity at its absolute worst. It's a fundamental part of the job description. You will see things that most people only experience in their darkest nightmares. The aftermath of a horrific car crash, the body of a child who didn't get to live a life, the victim of a violent assault, broken and bleeding. These images don't just go away when your shift ends, they get burned into your memory. They become a part of you, a collection of mental photographs that you can never delete. At first you build walls, you use gallows humor, you compartmentalize. You tell yourself it's just the job, that you have to be detached to do it effectively. And for a while that works. But trauma is like water. It always finds the cracks. It starts to seep into your life off-duty. You become hyper-vigilant, seeing threats everywhere. You have nightmares. You might find yourself pulling away from your family because you don't know how to explain the darkness you carry, and you don't want to infect their world with it. The things you've seen start to change the way you see everything. You cannot carry that weight alone. It's not a sign of weakness to admit that what you saw has affected you. It's a sign of being human. The strongest officers are the ones who know when to ask for help. Talk to your spouse. Talk to a trusted partner. Use the resources the department offers, like peer support teams or counselors. It's like cleaning a wound. If you let it fester, it will become infected and poison your entire system. Talking about it, processing it, is the only way to keep the trauma from defining you. You are more than the worst thing you've ever seen. You have to remember that. You're told you're the last line of defense, the guardians of the city, but sometimes it feels like you're being sent into battle with a butter knife. Budgets get cut. Manpower is stretched thin. Your patrol car has 150,000 miles on it and a strange noise you've learned to ignore. The radio you're using is older than some of the rookies on your squad. You're asked to do more with less, every single day. The calls for service don't decrease just because the city council decided to tighten the belt. The problems just get bigger, and the tools you have to solve them get smaller. This isn't just about inconvenience, it's about safety. When you're waiting for backup that's 10 minutes away because there aren't enough units on the street, that's a safety issue. When your equipment is outdated and prone to failure, that's a safety issue. When you're running from one high-priority call to the next with no time to breathe, let alone do proactive policing, that's a safety issue for you and for the community you serve. It's a constant, grinding frustration, knowing you could do your job better, safer, if you just had the proper support. You can't just throw your hands up and quit. That's not in the DNA of a cop. So you learn to adapt. You become an expert at improvisation. You learn how to make things work, how to patch things up, how to squeeze every last drop of utility out of the resources you do have. You focus on what you can control, your training, your mindset, your partner. You learn to rely on each other more than ever. It's a frustrating reality, but complaining about it doesn't put more gas in the tank. You do the best you can with what you've got. It's all you can do. You make a good arrest. The evidence is solid, the report is airtight, the suspect is caught red-handed. You've done your job perfectly. You spend hours preparing for court, reviewing your notes, going over every detail so your testimony will be unshakable. You see this as the final step, the moment where justice is served, where your hard work pays off and a dangerous person is taken off the streets. You walk into that courtroom feeling confident, ready to present the facts and close the case. Then, the legal system takes over. And it's a world with different rules. It's not about what happened, it's about what can be proven. A key piece of evidence gets suppressed on a technicality. A witness changes their story or fails to show up. A defense attorney twists your words and tries to paint you as incompetent or malicious. And then you hear the words you dread, case dismissed. Or a jury comes back with a not guilty verdict that defies all logic. The suspect you risked your safety to arrest walks out the door, sometimes with a smirk on their face. The feeling is like a punch to the gut. It's a profound sense of futility. All that work, all that risk for nothing. It can make you question the entire system you swore to uphold. It's easy to become jaded, to think, why bother? But you have to separate your job from the job of the courts. Your responsibility ends when you turn the case over. You can't control what a judge or a jury decides. All you can do is prepare as thoroughly as possible, present your testimony professionally and truthfully, and then accept the outcome. You have to let it go and move on to the next call. There's always a next call. The ground beneath a police officer's feet is never stable. It's constantly shifting, not because of crime waves, but because of political winds. A new mayor gets elected, a new police chief is appointed, a new policy is handed down from on high. Suddenly, the way you've been doing your job for years is wrong. The tactics that were once considered standard procedure are now forbidden. The priorities of the department change overnight based on headlines and public opinion polls. You're expected to pivot instantly, to enforce new rules that you may not even agree with or fully understand. This isn't about politics in the grand sense of Democrats and Republicans. This is about the politics of your city, your department. It's about pressure from community groups, from City Hall, from the media. These forces can dictate enforcement strategies, changing how you deal with everything from minor infractions to major protests. You become a tool to implement a political agenda, and that can put you in an impossible position. You're caught between the new policies you're ordered to enforce and the realities you see on the street every day. The key to navigating this minefield is to remain apolitical in your duties. You are a law enforcement officer, not a political operative. Your mission doesn't change even if the policies do. Your job is to enforce the law as it is written, to keep the peace and to protect the public. Stay informed about the changes, understand the reasoning behind them, but don't get caught up in the political drama. Focus on your immediate responsibilities, on the call in front of you, on the person who needs your help. Your integrity is your shield. As long as you act with professionalism and focus on your core mission, you can weather any political storm. When you take the oath, you're not just signing up for a job, you're signing up for a life of sacrifice. And honestly, the first casualties are often the moments that make up a normal life. While your friends are at backyard barbecues on a sunny Saturday, you're on patrol. While your family is gathered around the table for Thanksgiving dinner, you're handling a call. You will miss birthdays, you will miss anniversaries, you will miss school concerts and soccer games. You will see these precious moments pass by through the window of your patrol car. This is a quiet, creeping loss. It's not a single traumatic event, but a slow erosion of your presence in your own life. Your kids start to get used to you not being there. Your spouse learns to handle things alone. You become a visitor in your own home, always coming or going at odd hours, always tired, always carrying the weight of the job with you. You promise you'll make it up to them, that you'll be there for the next one, but you know there's always a chance the job will get in the way again. You can never get that time back. That's the brutal truth. So you have to make the time you do have count. When you are off duty, you have to be truly off duty. Put the phone away. Be present, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Make every moment you have with your loved ones intentional. Create your own traditions. Celebrate Christmas on the 27th if you have to. The date on the calendar doesn't matter. The connection does. You sacrifice a lot for the job, but you can't sacrifice your family. They are the reason you fight so hard in the first place. Cherish them. Every single time you put on that uniform, you are acknowledging a fundamental truth. You might not take it off. This isn't an exaggeration. It is the core reality of the profession. Every call you answer, no matter how routine it seems, holds the potential for violence. The traffic stop for a broken taillight could be a wanted felon who has decided he's not going back to prison. The noise complaint could be a mentally unstable person with a weapon. The potential for a sudden, violent, life-altering encounter is always there, simmering just below the surface of every interaction. You learn to live with a level of hyper-awareness that most people can't comprehend. You scan every room you enter. You watch everyone's hands. You position yourself in a way that maximizes your tactical advantage. This constant state of readiness is exhausting, but it's what keeps you alive. You can't afford to get complacent, not for a second. The one time you let your guard down, the one time you assume a situation is safe, could be your last. It's a heavy burden to carry, this knowledge that you are a target simply because of the uniform you wear. Your training, your vest, and your instincts are your holy trinity. You trust your training because it builds muscle memory that will take over when your conscious mind is overwhelmed by fear. You wear your vest every single day, no matter how hot or uncomfortable it is, because it can be the one thing that stands between you and a fatal wound. And you listen to that little voice in the back of your head, your gut instinct. If a situation feels wrong, it probably is. Never ignore that feeling. Your survival depends on honoring these principles without fail. It's not about being paranoid, it's about being prepared to go home at the end of your shift. The job is a grinder. It doesn't just wear down the soles of your boots, it wears down your soul. It's not one single event that does it. It's the cumulative effect of all of it. The trauma, the fatigue, the frustration, the danger, the constant exposure to the worst of human behavior. It's like being slowly eroded by a river of negativity. Day after day, year after year, it takes its toll. You start to feel numb. The things that used to bother you don't anymore. The things that used to bring you joy feel distant. This is burnout. It's a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. The passion you once had for the job starts to fade, replaced by cynicism and detachment. You become short-tempered with your family, you isolate yourself from friends, and you find yourself just going through the motions at work. You feel empty, like a battery that's been completely drained and can no longer hold a charge. It's a dangerous place to be, for you and for the people around you. You're no good to anyone if you're running on empty. Recognizing the signs is the first step. You have to be honest with yourself. Are you more irritable than usual? Are you dreading going to work? Do you feel disconnected from your life? If the answer is yes, you have to take action. Use your vacation time. Don't just let it pile up. Actually go somewhere, do something, and disconnect from the job completely. Take your breaks during your shift. Step away from the radio and the chaos for a few minutes to just breathe. Check in with yourself regularly. Ask yourself, how am I really doing? You have to refuel your own tank because no one else is going to do it for you. You handle a complex, chaotic, and dangerous situation that unfolds over several minutes or even hours. You use your training, make split-second decisions, and bring it to a resolution. Then, you turn on the news or open your social media feed. What you see is a 30-second story with a catchy, often inflammatory headline. They show a 10-second video clip, usually the most dramatic part, stripped of all context. The narrative is simple, clean, and almost always wrong. It doesn't reflect the reality you experienced, it reflects the story the media wants to tell. This is honestly one of the most maddening realities of modern policing. Your actions are filtered, edited, and packaged for public consumption. Nuance is lost, context is ignored. The full story is rarely, if ever, told. The media has a business model, and that model often thrives on conflict, outrage, and anti-authority narratives. You, the officer on the street, become a character in their story, a symbol. And it's very hard to defend yourself against a story, especially when it's being broadcast to millions. You can't control the headlines. You can't call up every news station and correct their reporting. Trying to do so will only drive you crazy. So what can you do? You control your own narrative. How? Through professionalism and documentation, your body camera footage, your detailed reports, your professional conduct on the scene. That's your story. That is the truth. You have to trust that the facts will eventually come out in the proper forums, like internal reviews or court proceedings. Don't take the headlines personally. They aren't about you as an individual, they are about the uniform. Focus on doing the job right and let your actions and your reports speak for themselves. You run towards the danger that everyone else is running away from. You miss holidays with your family to protect someone else's. You see and do things that would give most people nightmares, all in the name of keeping your community safe. You do all of this, and what do you get in return? More often than not, you get silence. Or worse, you get criticized, questioned, and condemned. The simple words "thank you" become incredibly rare. You might get a nod from a driver at a crash scene, or a quiet word of thanks from a victim, and you hold on to those moments like gold. It's a strange thing to do so much and receive so little in the way of gratitude. Over time, it can start to feel like no one cares, like your sacrifices are going unnoticed. You see people protesting against you, you read hateful comments online, and you hear the constant drumbeat of criticism from pundits and politicians. It's easy to start believing that the world is against you, that the very people you're protecting resent your presence. This feeling can breed bitterness and isolation if you let it. You cannot depend on the public for your validation. You will be disappointed every time. Your sense of pride and accomplishment has to come from within. It has to come from the knowledge that you did your job to the best of your ability, that you acted with integrity, that you made a difference, even if no one else saw it. And it has to come from your peers. The most meaningful appreciation you will ever receive is from another cop who knows what you've been through. A quiet nod, a pat on the back, the words, "I got your six." That's the currency of respect in this world. Support your fellow officers and let them support you. That is where you'll find the strength to carry on. A figure emerges from the shadows. They reach into their waistband. Is it a gun? Is it a cell phone? You have less than a second to decide. Your decision will determine if you live or die, if they live or die. And your decision, made in a heartbeat under unimaginable stress, will be analyzed, debated, and judged for months or even years by people who have the luxury of slow-motion video and unlimited time. This is the terrifying reality of the split-second decision. It's a burden that no one who hasn't worn the badge can truly comprehend. The human brain is not designed to make perfect life-or-death calculations in the blink of an eye. You're flooded with adrenaline. Your hearing narrows, your vision tunnels, you're operating on pure instinct and training. You have to process 1,000 variables at once. The environment, the suspect's actions, the background, the law, departmental policy, and you have to do it all right now. There is no pause button, there are no do-overs. The consequences of your choice are immediate and irreversible. This is why training is not just important, it is everything. You don't train until you get it right, you train until you can't get it wrong. Repetition, scenarios, stress inoculation, these are the tools that forge the neural pathways you will rely on when your life is on the line. You have to trust that training, you have to trust your gut, and after the fact, you must be able to articulate why you did what you did. Review your actions, not to second-guess yourself into paralysis, but to learn and reinforce good tactics. You are a human being, forced to make superhuman decisions. Train hard so that when the moment comes, you are ready. You'd think that the most dangerous battles a cop fights are on the street, but sometimes the most treacherous territory is inside the walls of your own department. Every precinct, every squad is its own ecosystem with its own power structures, its own rivalries, and its own unwritten rules. Navigating these internal politics can be just as challenging as navigating a high-risk call. Who you associate with, what you say in the locker room, who you piss off, it can all have a major impact on your career, your assignments, and your backup on the street. There's the jockeying for promotions and desirable assignments. There's the gossip and the rumor mill that can destroy a reputation overnight. There are cliques and factions, supervisors who play favorites, and colleagues who will throw you under the bus to get ahead. It can feel like a high school cafeteria sometimes, but with much higher stakes. You're trying to do your job, to focus on policing, but you're forced to spend energy managing relationships and avoiding political landmines within your own team. The only winning move is not to play the game. Stay professional. Do your job, do it well, and let your work speak for itself. Be courteous to everyone, but be careful who you trust. Avoid the gossip. If you're not part of the problem, you won't become a victim of it. Focus on your own goals and your own integrity. Build a reputation as a solid, reliable officer who is above the petty drama. Find a few good partners you can truly count on and stick with them. The political landscape of a department can change, but a reputation for solid, honest police work is something no one can take away from you. In this job, you carry a gun, a badge, and a target on your back for lawsuits. Every action you take, every decision you make, carries with it the potential for legal consequences. We live in a litigious society, and police officers are prime targets. A good faith mistake, a misunderstanding, or even a completely justified use of force can land you in a courtroom with your career, your savings, and your family's future on the line. The threat of being sued is a constant companion, a shadow that follows you on every call. This isn't just about civil lawsuits. Every use of force is scrutinized. A prosecutor can decide that your split-second decision to defend your life was not reasonable, and you can find yourself facing criminal charges. You can go from being the enforcer of the law to being the one accused of breaking it. The very system you've dedicated your life to upholding can be turned against you. It's a terrifying prospect that can lead to hesitation and second-guessing in moments when decisive action is required. So how do you protect yourself? Knowledge and documentation. You have to know the law, case law, state law, federal law, inside and out. You have to know your department's policies and procedures backward and forward, and you have to follow them every time. Then, you document everything. If it's not in the report, it didn't happen. Your reports and your body camera are your best defense. They create a record of the facts that can shield you from false accusations. Act with integrity, follow your training, and document your actions meticulously. It's the armor you wear against the legal battles that are an unavoidable part of the job. You signed up to be a hero, a guardian. You wanted to help people, to be seen as one of the good guys, but you quickly learned that a significant portion of the community you serve doesn't see you that way. They don't see the individual behind the badge, they see a symbol, and for them that symbol represents oppression, fear, and injustice. They don't trust you, they don't want you in their neighborhood. Their first instinct is to be hostile, to challenge your authority, to assume the worst about your intentions. This can be a bitter pill to swallow. You're trying to help someone who's just been victimized, and they're treating you with suspicion and contempt. You're responding to a call for service, and you're met with a crowd of people recording you on their phones, yelling insults. It's a deep, painful disconnect. You're risking your life for a community that, in some corners, seems to hate you. This erosion of trust makes your job infinitely harder and more dangerous. Cooperation dries up. Information stops flowing. Every interaction is fraught with tension. You can't fix this problem overnight. You can't change a person's entire worldview in a single traffic stop. But you can change it one interaction at a time. The only way to rebuild trust is to earn it. It starts with respect. You treat every person, regardless of their attitude towards you, with basic human dignity. You listen more than you talk. You explain your actions. You show them that you're a human being, not just a uniform. It's a slow, painstaking process. It's about building relationships, not just making arrests. Every positive, respectful interaction is a small deposit in the bank of community trust. It's the only way forward. There are two kinds of loss in this job that will change you forever. The first is losing a civilian. It could be a victim of a crime you couldn't prevent, or someone in an accident you couldn't save. You do everything you can, CPR, applying pressure to a wound, comforting them in their final moments, but sometimes it's just not enough. The feeling of helplessness, the what-ifs that follow, can really haunt you. You carry the weight of their death. a silent burden of a life you couldn't save. The second kind of loss is the one that strikes at the heart of the brotherhood. It's losing one of your own. When an officer is killed in the line of duty, a shockwave rips through the entire law enforcement community. It's a visceral reminder of your own mortality. You see their empty locker, the black band across your badge, the sea of blue uniforms at the funeral. It's a pain that is profound and personal, because it could have been you, it could have been your partner. It's a loss that reinforces the dangers you face and the sacred bond you share. Grief is not a problem to be solved, it's a process to be endured, and you cannot endure it alone. When you lose someone, you have to allow yourself to feel that pain. Don't bury it under a tough exterior. Talk to your peers, your family, a chaplain, or a counselor. Honor the memory of the fallen, whether it's a civilian you tried to save or a colleague you served with. Tell their stories, uphold their legacy by continuing to do the job with honor. Seeking help to process that grief is not weakness, it is the essential strength required to carry on in the face of unimaginable loss. The job has a way of creeping into every corner of your life until it consumes you. It's not just the hours you work, it's the mindset you can't turn off. You're at a restaurant with your family, but you're scanning the room for threats. You're watching a movie, but you're critiquing the police tactics. The badge becomes your identity. You stop being John or Jane, the spouse, the parent, the friend. You become the cop. And when your entire identity is wrapped up in your job, you're setting yourself up for a fall, because that job will not last forever. This is the final and perhaps greatest challenge: how to be a police officer without letting it destroy who you are. If you don't actively fight to maintain a life outside the badge, you will lose it. Your relationships will suffer, your mental health will decline. You'll become a two-dimensional person, defined only by your profession. You'll forget the person you were before you ever put on the uniform, the one with hobbies, interests, and dreams that had nothing to do with law enforcement. You must consciously and deliberately set boundaries. When you walk in your front door, take off the uniform and take off the cop mindset with it. It's not easy, but it's vital. Pursue hobbies that have nothing to do with policing. Go fishing. Learn to play the guitar. Coach your kid's soccer team. Reconnect with friends who aren't on the job. These things aren't distractions, they are lifelines. They remind you that you are a whole person, a multifaceted human being. The badge is what you do, it is not who you are. Remembering that difference is the key to not just surviving the career but thriving beyond it. So there you have it, 20 brutal realities. This isn't a list of complaints, it's a look at the price of the ticket. Every officer who wears the badge pays it in one way or another. These challenges are real, they are relentless, and they can break you if you face them alone. But understanding them, naming them, and developing a plan to confront them is the first step towards building a resilient career and a fulfilling life. The job will demand everything from you, but it doesn't have to take everything from you. Strength isn't about never feeling the weight, it's about learning how to carry it. My name is David Zinni, and I've dedicated my life after the badge to helping first responders navigate these very challenges. The goal is not just to survive the job, but to thrive beyond it. To have strong relationships, good health, and a clear sense of purpose both in and out of uniform. It is possible. I've seen it. It takes work, it takes community, and it takes a willingness to be honest about the struggles. You don't have to carry this weight by yourself. There is strength in sharing the burden. This conversation doesn't end here. This is just the beginning. If this resonated with you, if you see yourself in these realities, know that you are not alone. There is a path forward. There is support available. There is a community of people who understand exactly what you're going through because they've been there too. Don't let the job become the only thing in your life. Build a life so strong that the job is just one part of it, not the whole thing. Stay safe out there.